Yep, as we head into this one, the big question will be the compositional one, as the attacking team obviously has the advantage. And to explain what that means on a map like this, LGE.Huya will have one of their damage players, Kami or Merit, depending on whichever one they feel like, play a Sombra or Tracer, go out and scout what Gladiators Legion is doing, and then they'll be able to adopt a composition based off of that. That's the normal way of opening up a map like this, to get that extra information. And as the defender, when you see the composition coming, you don't have time to react, because when you see it coming, they're attacking your points, so you can't just rush back and swap. So it's pretty unique in most games, in most esports, there's a pretty large defender's advantage, but on, hybrid maps and also on assault maps in particular, there's a pretty inherent attacker's advantage in terms of composition in Overwatch. We'll see if they end up scouting. Looks like they just want to go blind into this, just straight up Reaper and Doomfist. Most people will send a scout. Rolf's going to drop that orb again.
Yeah, won't be able to get much off that one. Kinetic Grasp will just go ahead and nom it up. Not going to be seeing any Symmetra coming out either to get that TP around the left side from the attacker's perspective. Already though, Dalton going to be collapsed on, and Merit finds the kill. Not even with a rocket punch, so I'm certain exactly how things transpired there for him. Gets the uppercut in on the stand one. They take him low. Still getting weakened. He will be finished off. 3 kills now for the side of Huya, who explode forward on Volskaya. Reinvigorated now on this attack.
Yep, that's going to be the cap. First push, straight into it.
Yep.
So it's going to be like King's Row. Legion won't be able to control this choke point. Everyone's staying calm here on the side of the Huya side. Dalton is in a position where he could try to make something happen here, but I don't think it would be wise. Yeah, I'm just going to stay back, it looks like. Still out there a little bit to the left side, as you can see. But for Huya here, they're just going to carefully take this high ground. Try to hope to avoid that first potential punch of Water, but Water's playing back.
So much time to try to chew up here. Big dive in. On that side, big slam. Accretion does connect onto Merit. Not much follow-up. He's knocked into the back of his team. Coalescence rolling. Whoops. Lasting a bit longer there than Molly. Pulled the trigger a second. He'll be able to keep his squad alive. Only going to be a couple kills found here for the side of Gladiators Legion. They're pushing forward, looking to get some staggers, and they will be able to find a few.
Yeah, really nicely done by Rolf there, the Coalescence timing. If you guys noticed at the beginning of the fight, Dalton ported behind Huya and then had to Wraith Walk immediately once they scouted him. So he actually was in a pretty vulnerable spot. So it looked like a pretty poor fight for Legion to start things out, but they stayed back, played passive. Water did not overcommit. Then they used the second Coalescence to kind of win the war of attrition there. Even though Dalton was in a rough spot, you can see he's 20% behind ult charge because he didn't do very much in that last fight because of that attempted teleport to control the high ground. Still good crisis management on the side of Legion.
Yep, well, that's going to be the flux coming in. Looks like a pretty big one, but the town barriers there from Lenza to try to keep everybody alive. Coalescence out from Molly, manages to find that supercharger and stand one. Rolf pulling the trigger second. Might use a little bit too late to try to keep that Orisa alive. Town barrier used as well. Peter's right comes down, but there you go. Merit drops down on top and finishes him off. Death Blossom out from Kami, unable to find any kills, and Dalton retreating, picking up that mega pack. Nearly has that Death Blossom ready to roll. 1.25 tick is going to be gained by LGE for now. The punch coming in, and Dalton just was not ready for it. Wasn't looking off to his right. His peripheral vision not working, it would seem. He gets eliminated. Right now, Merit is just wreaking havoc on the point.
Kills on cooldown, man.
Comes in, he goes so low, 50 HP remaining. He's still playing forward. Gets the punch, sets up for the kill on the stand one.
Every punch is a kill. One more.
See if he can find another one. That one's going to be thought better of. Manages to cancel it. 90.6% going to be built up. Then Blossom comes out from Dalton in the back of the fight. Doesn't find any kills for that one though, but follows up on the back of the ultimate and manages to find Kami.
Really
they
nice.
do hold them off.
Really nicely done by Gladiators Legion. The moment where Merit canceled his punch to commit in was the moment where Gladiators Legion actually had a chance to kind of regroup. They had 3 of their members there outside of the point, then they had the flanking stand one, Wrecking Ball coming in from the side, then they had spawn advantage, just playing passive, knowing they could, as long as it's not 100%, there's always a chance to recontest. As long as nobody dies, if they get that full 6, they can come in together. Huya used a lot of their tools in that last fight, especially the Flux.
All coming in, looking for the punch. Merit unable to find the kill. It's going to be Lenza taken down. Now Sven gone as well as Water finds himself a double kill. Looks for a triple, and he finds it.
And there's this uncanny ability on the damage dealers here of Gladiator Legion to find these unexpected flank angles. It seems like, just when you feel like Legion is playing safe, as they did in that barely defended B point here, that's when Water's going to flank on the side and get the kill. That's when he's going to go behind your team. That's when Dalton's going to go on the side. Every time it starts to feel a little bit predictable, they change it up, and that's really nice decision-making. But on the damage side of things, to figure out the best way to pick Huya apart and to keep them guessing, every failed push is about a minute off the clock.
And so far, they're taking them down from 6 minutes to 2.5. Flux is going to be coming out again. Several members thrown up into the air. He's going to be deleting that shield off the sound barrier as quickly as they can. Minefield manages to find Sven, but look at this turnaround. Merritt and Kami going to put themselves back on the map. 4 members suddenly gone inside of Gladiators Legion, and stand 1 with a sliver of HP does not stand a chance. He will be eliminated, and that should just finish. No one else able to tag in. But that was looking catastrophic at the start for Gladiators Legion. They take them down to 2 minutes and 8 seconds.
Huge turnaround on the time bank. For LGE.Huya, that was good crisis management there as well on their part. When the Flux came through, they sound barriered, and then they hit the go button right at that moment, committed into the fight. That's when you did see, the crash through from Merritt and Kami while they had that extra shielding. But the big question going into this map, the map choice of LGE.Huya, tournament life on the line, would be the Pharah question. Will we see Kami start the Pharah here? It's a stronger map than Horizon for that hero pick. You very rarely see Pharah on Horizon at the highest level of play. They chose Volskaya. And that's the big question on everyone's mind is, will he play standard? Because when we went into the first attack, they didn't even scout, right? They didn't even send a Sombra out. They just played the mirror matchup. And it looked like Huya, in this moment, felt like this is a comfort map pick. We know the architecture really well. We know the, the Doomfist angles. We know the Reaper flanks. And that was basically the map choice, not based off of composition or some sort of overarching strategy. And that still holds true here. They're going to keep the Reaper and the Doomfist, so no Pharah from Kami.
I think at this point, it's too risky.
I agree.
To try to go for it just because, this is potentially the final map. They have to pull off a reverse sweep if they want to stay in this tournament.
Yeah.
Another puppy about to be adopted.
Yeah, that's where they go. That's where they go. Not going to the Shadow Realm or anything like that, no.
No, not at all. Arissa's very kind.
Okay, good check there by Stan 1 to make sure there's no flanking Kami. Or Merritt, for that matter.
Yep. Either or. Jump into the backwater. It's a nice uppercut, displacing 2. Dip inside. J-Max still going to be alive for now, but there's a follow-up punch. Water finishes him off, and it seems like we might just have a very similar time bank for the side of Gladiators Legion, unless Huya can try to stabilize, but losing out on their supports. Molly's falling low, has to peel back. There you have 1 ticket being snatched for free here. And that'll be it.
Yeah, that's going to be a fast cap again. Some on the Legion side. In terms of, how this next fight is going to go, I feel like Huya, knowing that the time bank is potentially massive here, should play cautiously to try to use their Coalescence second and not try to go for an opening pick with the Doomfist or the Reaper, rather force Gladiators to be the ones to attack first. And it looks like that's exactly what they're going to do, playing back now. No wraparound.
Drop down. Big uppercut there for the side of Water. Drops into the bag, tries to finish off Molly while he was in the middle of that Coalescence. She's unable to do so, but charges up the Rocket Punch, finds Kami, but 3 members gone on the side of Gladiators Legion, so they will have to reset. Huya wins this fight.
If they had a sound barrier or something like that, Water might have been able to get a little bit more done there given his positioning. But that 1 pick alone isn't enough, especially when you know your opponent has better respawns. You're just going to be guaranteeing that they have the better ult bank if you do commit in that situation. Speaking of ultimates, Lenza healed a lot more in that last fight. He's going to have the sound barrier. Gladiators Legion do not want to commit a lot of ultimates to this fight. They only have the supercharger, but they will build others if they commit that. It can all be countered by that sound barrier. Kami this time going to take the flank
angle.
Does get away.
Surprise. Video strike out from Merritt, going to be dropping down top of the supercharger. Sven going to be taken out, however, before that sound barrier comes through. They managed to equalize back onto 1 tank. Stand 1 will be eliminated from the Gladiators. Sven, respawn, shorter run back.
Tons of damage there underwater. Gets some shields on his way out. Will barely survive, but
They got to play patient. They have to wait for Stan to come back.
they do, and that's the ultimate I was talking about that would have been shut down by the sound barrier, but it did lead into multiple other ultimates, right? They're going to have the Coalescence, their own sound barrier here. This is the fight they want to take if they want to have the better time bank.
Coalescence is out. Wolf now matching. Sven going to be eliminated before he can use the Gravitic Flex. Wolf just hosing everybody down, comes up with 2 kills. Now J-Mac and Merritt both going to be eliminated. 4 gone on the side of Huya. They've broken open the point. They are capping it. Second tick now coming through. And they tag in. The boot back is there, and they cannot make it in. 356 to 208 as Gladiators Legion finish Volskaya.
Doubling the time bank essentially here. And they commit the Supercharger on that previous fight, but they don't commit any other ultimates. They just force out the sound barrier, and that guarantees that their Flux is going to be able to set up a big team fight there. You see Rolf come in with the Coalescence as soon as it's tossed out. And it's a combo people don't really talk about. People think about the Flux into the Meteor Strike more often because it's flashier, but the Flux puts members of the opponent's team into the air where they're easy to just pop out with the Coalescence or help finish off once they get down to their half health. That's eliminated when they slam into the ground. So they had all these different ultimates they could use together with that. Dalton, of course, coming in with the Death Blossom. And there was just no way to mitigate the damage because Huya was scared that they were going to commit further ultimates after the Supercharger or things would snowball there. The Lens didn't really have much of a choice. Great situation here for the Legion, but for LGE.Huya, I mean, tournament life on the line. This attack needs to be big.
And this kind of just comes down to who has the better defense at this point. We saw both of them fall over pretty much. In those
on A,
first,
at least, yeah.
in those first 2 halves. So now into overtime. Can the defending sides improve? Can the Legion hold them off? Otherwise, might be going to eventually several extra rounds of Volskaya here.
Could be. He is at least hoping so.
No shenanigans, though, from either team. Still
Yep,
just
same
going to be
comps.
standard. Not even worrying about scouting things out. Hulk comes in, looking for that punch. Short charge there from Merritt, just knocking water away. Going to keep his team topped up, and it's a very aggressive, far forward play for the Gladiators Legion. It nets them a kill onto Kami. Allowing Dalton to take the lead towards that Death Blossom.
See where Dalton stays for this next defense. You know, when you have the better time bank like this, you know you can afford to play a little bit more aggressively.
Well, that's what cost him the last time.
Yeah.
Dalton got picked early. He was off by himself. This time the rest of the team moves up with him. Shield comes in. Coalescence is going to be out. Molly's getting ready to expire. Manages to keep J-Mac alive. Wolf still has a bit more time, and Water finds a kill into Merritt. Coming down to half HP.
This is where things really start to crumble and fall apart. You feel pressure to use the Coalescence. You might build a second one. You know, obviously in this fight it builds very quickly. You know, he's closer to than Rolf is, but I mean, it's negligible really. But you have to have a great fight here. And you don't know where Dalton is, and that's so frustrating because this is your last fight.
All right, wrapping around right-hand side, move up onto the walkway.
They have visuals of both damage players now as well, so they can safely approach the point.
Drop down there in the garage. They still have to make their way over onto the point. See Merritt up above. Punch going to be charged up. Gets the hit, and that's going to be Lenza knocked out of the park. Molly hanging on by a sliver of HP, but Email going to fall, and that's the finish. Onto the enemy Moira. Water wreaking havoc. Drops back down. Tommy going to go out. There's 18 seconds remaining. They're looking for the cleanup here. Can anyone do anything for LGE to save them?
They knew where Dalton was, but they didn't expect him to walk through the team. They try to react. He wraith walks, and in that moment, Water comes through. He's got the crossfire. 6 set up there from the damage dealers to potentially win this map.
They can tag in. They're still escorting. Email back over to the point. We saw the taxi coming out from Luddy. The punch goes forward. Fortify greets them, and J-Mac gone. The uppercut takes them out. Merritt going to be eliminated. Death Blossom online. Kami stunned up for the moment. Does manage to stay alive. Gravitic Flux comes through, pushes him up into the air. He's not able to find anything. Gets taken down. Sound barrier out from Lenza, but the shields get shredded away from them. They get nothing on point A. Now the best that LGE can hope for on this map is a draw.
Yeah, it's feeling like this map is all but completed. When we talk about that real strong defense from the Gladiator Legion there. You can call them Gladiator Legion instead of Gladiators Legion. It's a tongue twister for me for some reason. But anyway, it was really cool to see how Dalton threatened. See that room to the bottom left of your screen there? Dalton was to the left of that doorway, and they knew he was there, but they didn't expect him to walk into the center of the team. He just walks in, doesn't wraith in, he walks in, and then they start focusing him down. He immediately wraiths, of course, becomes invulnerable. A lot of cooldowns are used, and that's when the punch comes through from Water. He gets a pick, and then Dalton's wraith expires, but he's doing damage. He comes in and he helps, eliminate the rest of those members there. Well planned. LGE.Huya, one last chance. As you mentioned, they can't win the map, but they can draw it, and this is a 1-to-3 series. So they'll bring us to a 4th map where they'll be on their, tournament life point again. It's been up and down these first 2 maps that we saw too. Close game of control, King's Row, LGE.Huya's map to lose, and Gladiators Legion took it away from them with great play. And I think the mental momentum is definitely with them. Here's the Sombra Scout we were talking about that we didn't see Huya use. Water will just translocate back.
Yeah, actually got spotted there for the moment, but we'll just swap over onto the Doomfist as soon as they confirm that it is going to be standard comps. Start pushing their way forward. It's going to be a wrap around the left side. Already conceding the right is Huya. They start peeling their way back. Water nearly gets picked off. To the point. Punch going through. Water knocked up into the air. Into the back though. They're looking for Lenson. They managed to find him. Luddy going way deep. Manages to take him down with that boop. And Dalton is just cleaning up house with the rest of the squad. Marin and J-Mac both going to be gone. Water looking for the finish there. On to Sven. They have got it. J-Mac desperately swaps over onto the Wrecking Ball, but even that is not fast enough to make it. Gladiators Legion, they take it 3-0 versus LGE. You and I did not expect this. We thought that this was going to be a much closer series, given how both of these teams played in their previous matches, but Gladiators Legion, this Wolf almost knocks my headset off my head. Gladiators Legion come in here reinvigorated, looking better than earlier, and they keep their tournament alive for LGE.Huya. This is where the gauntlet ends.
This is where the gauntlet ends. In 2 of our 3 regions that have solo representation, Europe and China, are eliminated from the tournament in group stage. Both of them with an 0-6 defeat. No one would have expected it would be the Pacific region of the 3 that would come out on top, nearly defeating Element Mystic and having a dominant performance to close out their day yesterday. But we will have to say goodbye to LGE.Huya. It was a rough series for Molly in particular. Had a tough time keeping his emotions in check, but these guys came over here, they gave it their all. And China has always been one of those regions that either performs really well or very poorly at Overwatch lands. If you think about some of the great Chinese teams we've had in the past, LGE's original squad. I mean, you think about the Chinese World Cup team that we saw last year, the 2018 national team. It's a strong region, but a very weak showing here, along with Europe. And North America strikes back again. Our highest represented region is looking pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, somewhat unprecedented, an international event, and all 3 North American teams are still in it at the end of 2 different elimination days. Crazy stuff here from Glad Legion, and a very nice bounce back for them, so they do stay alive.
We talked a lot about Water's evolution throughout these 6 maps he's played so far today, about playing a little bit more passively, but also knowing when to commit. We've talked a lot about Dalton's positioning, how he's been able to trip up a lot of these teams by flanking, coming from behind, dropping down. But I think one of the players on this team that goes really underrated is Luddy as well. He had some fantastic sound barriers throughout the series. He got some great kills. That cost LGE.Huya that last point. He got that last kill. He got the kill on the Pharah on Achilios. Great performance from the Lucio player.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, overall, just a level up performance from everybody on the side of Gladiators Legion. They look much more cohesive. The Wrecking Ball from Stand 1 looked way better than it did earlier. It seemed like they were trying to shoehorn that in, especially on Paris in that first series that they played. But the performances overall were just completely leveled up. A night and day transition, essentially, from them. Maybe that speaks volumes about Envy's actual potential and their skill ceiling at the moment, but we'll have to see more from them later on in the day. For now, though, it's time to throw down to the floor because we've got Miro standing by, as always, for an interview. But this time, he's going to be talking to Water so we can hear from this guy that had such a drastic change in performance throughout this entire series, starting with people giving, I think, mixed reviews, saying, oh, I thought this guy was supposed to be super hyped up. I thought he was going to be really good. But in the end, it was really great.